Okay, in this first dev video, what I want to do is just quickly discuss with you what the idea for the game actually is. So this is kind of all we're up to at the moment. So, but it should be enough to kind of explain the main game. So we can see what we have here is quite a lot of unfinished assets, but what I can do here is run my main character through the scene. And really, you can see this as a dungeon crawler in the same kind of essence as games such as Diablo or Torchlight. But the main kind of difference here, so I might as well just show you that, is like just one of our rooms. And this is currently using the Atlas as a texture. So you can see here it's got a ridiculous texture on it. But yeah, the main idea for the game, it's similar in essence. You know, it's a dungeon crawler style game. The difference here though is that you're constantly running. So your character is a little kind of farmer's son who has no real kind of fighting kind of experience. So he decides his only way to get through dungeons, to get kind of treasure and rescue the princess and stuff like that, is to actually run. So just run past enemies and creatures and things like that. Now there are here's another untextured drink. There are ways for him to defeat enemies, and that's through the use of distraction and things like traps. So one of his main abilities is going to be he'll be able to whistle. So when he whistles, he can distract enemies and lure them kind of towards traps. But for the majority of the gameplay, you'll be running as fast as you can to avoid enemies and collect chests and progress through to the next dungeon. So everything is going to be procedurally generated. So if I just pause this here, we can see here the current kind of level that we're playing. So you can see this is all procedurally generated using kind of different tiles that we've made. And it's far from finished yet, so you can see you've got numerous kind of problems and things like that. But yes, the whole world will be procedurally generated. So you have a start point in your level, and you have an end point. And your goal is to unlock the doors by finding various chests, while also getting all the treasure from the dungeon before you leave. Once you leave, you progress to the next floor of the dungeon, and although we're not sure how many there will be, there'll be a certain number of dungeons you have to get through to complete the game. And obviously at the moment there's no kind of AI in here, so can't really show you much of that kind of thing. Here's a trap though, just first kind of testing of a trap. So you can see this is just something that's kind of opening and closing, so it's not really doing anything yet, and also it's just using a floor tile, but you can at least get the essence of the idea from that. So the main aim from the game then is to collect all the various different types of collectibles throughout, get to the end of the dungeon and get all the treasure that was stolen from the king. And yeah, your main tools to be able to progress through the dungeon are incredible speed and using traps and avoidance and distraction. Just to show you a bit of the kind of main styling for the characters, you can see here we've just knocked up some rough kind of concept art for the main character. So we've got a couple of designs here for the costume. You can see he's going to be quite weedy because the idea is he's a farmer's son, so he's not used to fighting. He's got this kind of old armour from his father. And he's quickly whacked that on, and he quickly realises that he's no fighter at all. So we wanted him to be quite skinny and quite gangly, so he looked like he can run fast but isn't particularly strong. And although this isn't final yet, it does give you a rough idea of the kind of style we're going for. You know, slightly exaggerated proportions, but kind of not massively. I'd say the face here is probably looking kind of a little bit dark. We want him to look a bit more innocent than that. We see him maybe kind of bigger eyes and not having one eye covered, because that can give the impression that he's hiding, so we want to make sure he looks like a completely kind of open character. You can see here some of the kind of early procedural generation of the level. So we've got different kind of rooms here, and these can kind of go up to any kind of size that you want. So yeah, that's the idea for the game. Dungeon Runner is the kind of current work in progress title. Not really going to settle on a title for a long while yet. And the idea is you're running through these dungeons, collecting the random collectibles that are throughout, collecting the treasure, and the main reason you're doing that is so that you can get out of poverty by getting the reward from the king, and to marry the princess who you've kind of always had your eye on. Okay, so that's the kind of initial introduction to Dungeon Runner.